step to get our campaign on track is to start writing ads. See, we are currently at the campaign level here. For example, for the campaign I launch the campaign, I choose the ad group, for example, the general planting. I pay attention from up here to see at what level we are. In the All Campaigns section, I planted the ad group. On the left side, you can see ads and extensions. Click on it and select the ads option. See, we had different types of ads, which I don't want to go into detail about because they were in previous Google updates, and now we practically only have responsive ads. Here, I click on the plus option, Hantel, and select Responsive Search Ad. From there, a page like this opens for me. See, I have a number of headlines here that I need to write. I have a number of descriptions that I need to write. I have the final URL and the display path. And then I fill out these sections. First, review each one individually. See, what is the final URL? It's the page you want the user to land on. Well, for example, I might have a landing page right now. Let's say for this clinic. Suppose I have one landing page and everyone wants to come to one page. Well, that's fine. This becomes my main page. But for example, let's assume that I have a page for services, a page for offers, and also a main page where I want to include, for instance, the clinic's details and pricing. The ad group will direct our general audience to that page. So what my final URL will be depends on my ad group and whether you have different pages or not. As much as possible, take the user to where they are interested. That's why we have separated the ad groups. So now, since I don't have a specific site for our clinic, I will direct it to a miscellaneous site. Now, I will take the user to the main page. This is about the final URL. Let's move on to the display post discussion. You can write 2 15-character posts here in the display post section. Now, what should you write here? Provide more explanation about your business so that the user understands they have come to the right place. For example, I can write something like, "This is our clinic." For example, in the next one, I can write, "You see our clinic?" Provide more details about the specific topic you have in mind. Sometimes you can write your values here. Test it by writing a few ads. You can write in this style in the ad, for instance. Write in the ad, "Our clinic." And here you can write "free consultation." Right. So this isn't a mistake. Therefore, provide more details about the topic so that our user realizes they have come to the right place. Let's move on to the headlines. You see, in the headlines, you can write up to 15 headlines in the context of responsive ads and 30 characters. Fill up these 30 characters as much as possible. And what should you write, Ekroy? Make sure to use your keywords. One of our quality score factors is actually our ad relevance. The stronger you write your ad, the higher your ad relevance will be. And consequently, your quality score will increase, allowing you to receive a better rank. Be sure to use your keywords in your headlines, so that, for example, it doesn't happen that if I have a keyword. Hair transplantation is, to put it bluntly, giving it a little bit of wings. What do these elaborations include? Look, you need to include your different values. For example, I offer free consultations, or my hair transplant prices are very good, or I have official licenses. Prepare a list of these before writing the ad and use them. Try to combine these points with your keywords. For example, hair transplant. At the best price, do you see, instead of just writing the best price or separately writing hair transplant, I combined them. I used both my keyword and my value. Or for example, I wrote the best hair transplant clinic with, for example, an official license. Well, you see, it exceeded the character limit, so I can remove the best one. You can play with words so that within those 30 characters, it doesn't give you an error. Or what is my goal? My goal is that these leads I collect, for which I am gathering leads, call me, contact me, so that I can, in fact, have my sales team do something to bring them to my clinic to perform the procedure. So my goal is for them to contact me. I can use this to offer a free consultation. In fact, these are my calls to action. If you want to remember, what are examples of calls to action? Call us, fill out the form, make a purchase, but clicking is not considered a call to action because our goal is not for the user to just click. Our goal is for them to do something after they click. I want to receive a call there. For example, this is like calling for a free consultation. Or for example, what does the user expect from my service? Meaning, they want my service to be, for instance, high density. But I don't know if my service is high density. And such things, look, when I click on more ideas here, you see, it highlights my keywords and the ones that are checked in green. Well, for example, regarding our planting center, I didn't mention it among the keywords at all. For instance, I can write here our planting center in, for example, Iran. Or regarding the price, for example, you see when I write our planting center, it turns green. For instance, about the planting method, I might mention the latest planting method in the clinic, and I would also bring up the name of the clinic. And you see, again, the latest planting method here was beneficial for me. You want to use your keywords when writing a headline. Use your values. If you have a reasonable price, mention it. If you have a discount, say it. If you have a high variety of products, mention it. If you are selling products from a specific brand that is, for example, a well-known brand, mention it. Mention it. For example, suppose I am selling MAC Cosmetics, but at a very good price. Well, I would write this in the headlines, for example. Selling MAC Cosmetics at the best price, high variety, quality, warranty. If we offer a warranty, mention all these points in your headlines. There's a topic left in the headlines that I want to tell you about. We have an option called keyword insertion. That, I mentioned it to Haftar. Who was he? What does the advertisement do? First, let me tell you how we can use the insertion keyboard. You see, you can use it both in the headline and in the description. But my recommendation to you is to use it in the headlines. Look, I open a brace in the headline, any headline. You see, it brought up 3 options for me. The first option is keyboard insertion. When you press keyboard insertion, what does it tell you? It asks if you want to give it a default text. What is keyboard insertion and what is this default text? Look, when you use keyboard insertion, it sets a word as the default, for example, planting. Then, in fact, the user does a search. And with that search, a keyword is triggered. It places that word in the headline. And if for any reason it can't place that word, it uses the default text for you. Remember, it's not called search term insertion, it's keyboard insertion. The user does a search, and with the user's search, a keyword is triggered, and that keyword is placed here. And if for any reason, now what could that reason be? For example, if your word is more than 30 characters and can't fit into the headline, the default word you have set will be used. You see, the keyword insertion I set, you saw all the words I had here turned green, meaning all of these can be placed in that section. We have an option here. You see a pin icon. If you click on that pin, you can pin it to say, look, show this headline and this keyword, insertion in position 1, show it in position 2, show it in position 3, or show it anywhere. You can pin it again to the position you have in mind, but when you pin it, it usually lowers your ad strength. Of course, I haven't fully optimized it yet. You see up here, I have a blue menu showing me what scores I've achieved. And guys, if all of these are checked, my ad strength goes up. Definitely, definitely, definitely try to write ads that aren't poor. Look, when I pin this, see what happens. My ad strength becomes poor. It's better not to write poor ads. Make changes to increase its strength. And now, what is it telling me? It's saying that the headlines you've written include your keyword, but there aren't enough headlines. If I add more headlines, the first check mark will also be ticked, In this way, I continue to add various headlines. Use value if I have a good price octa, mention a call to action, and other things I've told you. Now, let's move on to the description. What is the description? In the description, it's the same model as writing headlines, but give it more depth. For example, what does that mean? I focus on the center of my activities, in Tehran, for instance, with the most prominent, with hair transplant doctors and with high density, for example, or for instance, another headline. I start with a call to action, free hair transplant consultation, right now, contact our experts. We take the different models we had in the headline and expand on them, using them in the descriptions. I recommend you write 4 descriptions. You see, now again, because I had written my description briefly, these ticks that should be like the description part, it didn't match, and again, in this upper section, you can see different ideas. Google itself also suggests to you, for example, what kind of headline to write, and what kind of description would be better. But in general, these were the points I mentioned to you. We have a final URL, display paths, and headlines where we try to use our keywords and phrases to utilize the 30 characters. We have descriptions that are mostly related to our headlines. Try to make your descriptions different from your headlines. Be sure to use keyword insertion in them and try to make them diverse. Write them in a way that they are not repetitive. After we have done these steps, we click on the Save Ad option. And see, this ad of mine is currently under review, and after a little while, it will become eligible. One point I wanted to mention is that if you are advertising something prohibited, for example, let's say you have an addiction treatment clinic or a medical clinic or other things that are part of Google's policies, you cannot clearly state in the text of your ad about writing about these matters. Keyboard insertion is one of those tricks you can use to bypass the policy. For example, let's say I have an addiction treatment clinic. How would I write my headlines? Rita, VIP service center, or call for a free consultation. Did I mention the word addiction treatment? No. Or I could write the headline the same way, but I can use a keyboard insertion. In the keyboard insertion, the default text might be something like reputable center. But what happens is that the keyboard insertion activates when users search for a word. A keyword is triggered, and those keywords are placed in the keyboard insertion, which actually makes my relevance not that much. And when the user searches for that word, it means it won't appear in the search. When a word is triggered, they won't see that word in the headlines, even if it's not entirely irrelevant. This way, you've bypassed Google, maintained your relevance, and your CTR hasn't dropped. These were the points I wanted to tell you about ad writing. In the next video, I will also be able to discuss extensions with you